The seventh angel poured out his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done." And so when the seventh bowl has been poured out, there was a throne in heaven from the temple. And whose voice is that? It can only be the voice of God, because in our previous study we know when the wrath of God is being poured out, the bowls of judgment being poured out in the temple, only God was there and no one could come in, right? And so this was his voice, and he says, "It is done." Now, the Greek word for done is ginomai, and which means finish, done. But what's interesting is how the verb is used. It is used as a perfect verb. And so when a verb is used as a perfect tense, not a past tense or a present tense, but a perfect tense, what that means is the action is already finished, but the continuing results are being manifested continuously. And so the judgments are finished, yes, but their effects will continue into the future until the return of Yahusha. This means that all of the consequences of the prior bowl judgments, the painful and malignant source, the scorching heat, the pain, the water turning into blood, all that will prevail until the return of King Yahusha. This is why when you look at the cumulative effect of the bowl judgments, human beings could not possibly survive that for some time. If this was going to last any longer than a month, it would obliterate all of mankind. So this is why we know the bowl judgments, they have to be quick. Otherwise, there will be no survivors. Okay? So Revelation 16, 18 and 20, what happens when the seventh bowl is poured out? And there were noises and thunderings and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such a mighty and great earthquake as had not occurred since men were on the earth. Now the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon was remembered before God to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. Then every island flew away, and the mountains were not found. That's pretty amazing. And so when you look at the seventh bowl, it is a great catastrophe, right? Why? Because there's going to be a great earthquake. You might say, well, Brother John, there's always been great earthquakes in the past. I know, but this is not just a great earthquake. The Bible says it's a mighty and great earthquake. In fact, it's so mighty and great, nothing like this has occurred ever before. This is a unique earthquake. This is like the earthquakes of earthquakes. In fact, because of the massive nature and the mighty power of this earthquake, five things are going to happen. Number one, the great city will be divided into three parts. And after that, the cities of the nations will fall. And so this earthquake will be felt worldwide, because it's not just going to affect the great city that the Bible mentions here. It's going to affect other cities as well. The cities of the nations fell. Great Babylon was remembered before God to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. In other words, great Babylon is going to be destroyed. And in our study of Revelation 17 and 18, we're going to find out who that great Babylon is.